Today we are going to be talking about the strategy Think Aloud. And with the Think Aloud strategy, what it does is it helps you understand what you're reading more through questions that you ask while you're reading. And just talking while you're reading, just kind of going through those questions while you're reading. And what we're going to do is we are going to read this book, and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to demonstrate what the thinking strategy looks like. And then after I'm done reading, I will put you into groups, and you will choose between two books that I give you what book you want to read to use the thinking strategy by yourself. And then to end, I will let you go when you can correctly match the new terms that we learn to their definitions. So we'll play like a little matching game. Okay, so we are going to read If You Give a Moose a Muffin by Laura Joff Numeroff and illustrated by Felicia Bond. And with the thinking strategy, the first question that you want to ask yourself is, what do I already know? And with that question, you are looking at your prior knowledge. You are looking at what you already know. So what I already know about moose and muffins is that moose are big and that we don't see them around here. They primarily live, at least I've seen them out west. And they have big antlers. So, and then what I know about muffins is that you put the ingredients for them, you mix it together, and then you put those ingredients that you've mixed together in a pan, and you bake it, and then you put it in for the time that you're supposed to, and when it's done, you take it out, and they should look raised, like a muffin should, and then you can eat it. And there are several different types of muffins. So that was my prior knowledge. And also, from that prior knowledge, I want to infer, I want to guess what's going to happen in the story from what I know. Guess from what you know. That's what it means to infer. You guess from what you know. So I'm going to infer that because it says if you give a moose a muffin, I'm going to infer that we're going to learn what happens when you give a moose a muffin. Okay? If you give a moose a muffin, he will want some jam to go with it. So, then, and then another question with the Think Aloud strategy is, the question is, what did I just read about? And for that, you're using your comprehension. You're using what you understand. So he doesn't just eat muffins by themselves. He has to have jam with it. So you'll bring out some of your mother's homemade blackberry jam. And I don't know that word, homemade. So I am going to use, and this kind of goes to the next question, where can I go if I do not understand what I read? So if you don't understand like a word that you read, can go to context clues. And context clues are how you look for help with new words. So, and context clues can be the picture, they can be the words around the word you don't know. So I'm going to look, it says some of your mother's homemade blackberry jam. So I'm going to say that his mother made it. When he's finished eating the muffin, he'll want another, and another, and another. When they're all gone, he'll ask you to make more. And so he, so my com, my comprehension, what I understand, is that he wants more. He doesn't just want one. He is really hungry. He wants to keep on eating the muffins. They're really good to him. And so, um, and if I don't understand what more means, so I don't understand what more means, so I look for, like I said before, the context clue. How you look for a new word. So I don't understand what more means. So I'm going to look at the picture. I'm going to look at the picture, and the picture shows a pan that's empty. So he ate all of them. So that means he didn't get enough. Like that wasn't all that he wanted. So based on what I know, my prior knowledge, what I already know about what happens when you want more of something is that you go get it. So I'm going to infer, I'm going to guess from what I know, that the boy is going to go get the mousse, a muffin, or more muffin mix to make more muffins for the mousse. You'll have to go to the store to get some muffin mix. Oh, okay. So he did. He went to go get more. He'll want to go with you. When he opens the door and feels how chilly it is, he'll ask to borrow a sweater. And um, I'm not sure what sweater means, so I'm going to use my context clues. I'm going to look for help with the new word sweater. And I'm going to look around, and it says he opens the door and feels how chilly it is. He'll ask to borrow a sweater. So based on what I already know, my prior knowledge, what I already know, I am going to infer or guess from what I know. I'm going to infer that he is going to, or that a sweater means that it's something that he's going to wear outside because it says it's chilly. And I know that that means cold. So when When he puts a sweater on, he'll notice one of the buttons is loose. He'll ask for a needle and thread. And I don't know what a needle and thread is, so I'm going to have to look for context clues. I'm going to have to look for help with the new words. And I am going, so it says that his button is loose. That means that it's coming off. So he's going to have something to fix it. From my prior knowledge, what I already know is that when something's coming off, you want to fix it. So I think my comprehension from what I read, what I understand from what I read, I'm going to predict that he is going to sew the button on. He'll start sewing. Yeah! The button will remind him of the puppets his grandmother used to make. What I know about puppets, what I already know, my prior knowledge, is that when you have puppets, they are creatures that are like trying to be funny and all that. So I am going to use my comprehension. I'm going to what I understand. I'm going to predict or make a guess, kind of like inferring, guess from what you know, that they are going to put on a puppet show. So he'll ask for some old socks. So what I already know is my prior knowledge. What I already know is that the the boy wanted to put on a puppet show. Well, they both did. Wanted to put on a puppet show. So I am going to infer that they are both going to be in the puppet show and that they are going to use socks for the puppets. Because it says he asked for some old socks. He'll make some sock puppets. Okay, so my inferring, my predicting was correct. When they're done, he'll want to put on a puppet show. He'll need some cardboard and paints. Then he'll ask you to help make the scenery. And scenery, I don't know what scenery means. So I'm going to use context clues, help with new words, to understand what scenery means. And with my prior knowledge, what I already know about using this cardboard and having cardboard and paint is that they have it up and that they are painting something on it. So I think that the scenery is something, and my prior knowledge, what I already know, is that they are going to have a puppet show. So it has to be for the puppet show. It's like a background for the puppet show. When the scenery is finished, he'll get behind the couch, but his antlers will stick out. So he'll ask for something to cover them up. you'll bring him a sheet from your bed. So my prior knowledge, what I know, is that moose are big. What I already know is that moose are big, and so I'm going to infer, I'm going to guess from what I know about moose is that um, the sheet is not going to be big enough because, and I also know that the boy is little and his bed isn't going to be that big. So I don't think the sheet, I'm going to infer, guess from what I know, that the sheet won't be big enough to cover the antlers on the moose. When he sees the sheet, he'll remember he wants to be a ghost for Halloween. He'll try on and shout, "Boo!" So I don't know if it was big enough because he didn't even put it over his. It reminded him of something. It'll scare him so much he'll knock over the paints. And my prior knowledge, what I already know about when you knock something over, is that you're going to have to pick it up. So I'm going to guess, I'm going to infer, guess from what I know, that he is going to have to pick up the mess of paint. So he'll use the sheet to clean up the mess. Then he'll ask for some soap to wash it out. He'll probably want to hang the sheet up to dry. He'll go outside to put it on the clothesline. I don't know what clothesline means, so I'm going to use my context clues, how you look for help with new words. I'm going to use my context clues for clothesline because I don't know what that means. So I'm going to look at the words around it, and then so it says he'll go outside to put it on the clothesline. So I know that it's outside, and I know that my prior knowledge, what I already know is that he's hanging it up. So I know the clothesline is something that you hang stuff to dry outside. Place where you hang stuff to dry outside. When he's out in the yard, he'll see your mother's blackberry bushes. Seeing the blackberries will remind him of her jam. He'll probably ask you for some. And what I know about him, what I already know about him, the moose, when he asks for jam, is that he wants a muffin to go with it. So I'm going to infer, going to guess with what I know, that he is going to ask for a muffin to go with his jam. And chances are, if you give him the jam, he will want a muffin to go with it. So what I inferred was correct there at the end. So now we're going to go over these questions, these think aloud strategy questions on the board. And I don't have a big board, so I'm just going to use this little board. And the first question, what do you already know? What do I already know? And what you already know, we talked about, that is prior knowledge. Prior knowledge is what you already know. Number 2, what do I think I will learn about? And that is, you don't know for sure, so you're kind of guessing. And we talked about how inferring means that you guess from what you know. So like you're guessing what's going to happen from what you know. Number 3, what did I just read about? So that is kind of pulling it all together. You are comprehending what you read. And comprehension is what you understand. The last one, where can I go if I do not understand what I read? And that is where you look for context clues, which is how you look for help with new words. So like there in the book, I showed you an example by looking for context clues with those few words that I didn't know. I was not familiar with them. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to give each of you this Think Aloud question bookmark, and you are going to get into either with partners or a group that I put you in and read a book of your choice. I'll give you 2 choices. And you are going to read one time using the questions that I used and that are on your bookmark to help you to use the Think Aloud strategy with your own reading. So you're going to do that one time, and then the other time you're not going to use the questions in the Think Aloud strategy. And we're going to come back together and we're going to talk about which you think is better. And then after that, we will end with playing like a matching game with the terms that we talked about and used. So now that you have read the book 2 times, one with the Think Aloud strategy and one without, what do you think worked? Raise a quiet hand. What do you think worked best? Yeah, I love your quiet hand. What do you think worked best? Do you think the Think Aloud strategy, when you used the Think Aloud strategy, do you think that worked best, or when you didn't use the Think Aloud strategy? Okay. And so do you think the Think Aloud strategy worked better because you were you kind of had it in words, what you were supposed to be looking for when you were reading? Okay, yeah. It is helpful when you have it in words, and kind of as a guide to help you with knowing what you're supposed to be looking for when you're reading. And as I said before, to end, we are going to do our terms that we have talked about throughout the lesson, and we are going to kind of play a matching game with it. And I'm going to do it, I'm going to use one student at a time is going to come up and do the matching game. And then when you get them all correct, you'll be able to leave. And so but then the rest of you will will have some the same as what the one that's going to be with me will use. So that way you're kind of practicing before you come up and match the terms and definition. And so I will have the definition out, and you will just have to match the term to the definition. And I will read the definitions to you, so you don't have to worry about that. So, okay, so thank you very much. And you guys did an awesome job, and I love your good listening and good cooperation.